This is Les Brown. I want to talk to you about fighting for the life that you want. And that's something that we're looking at with admiration with the people in Ukraine. These people are fighting. And it's really like David and Goliath. He had 5 stones, but he only used one. And I think that was the stone of determination, the stone of faith, the stone of perseverance. When you think about where things are there's several things that come up for me here. That we have a similar situation right here in the United States. You know, we're dealing with police departments who, for the most part, they are serving people. They serve and protect the dominant culture, but people of color, they terrorize and murder. It's a whole different thing. And there's something I remember by Claude McKay. Where is that paper? I saw something by Claude McKay, and it reminded me of these powerful words by Claude McKay. It was something that Claude McKay did. He was a poet from Jamaica, went to New York, and it was a piece that Claude McKay did called If We Must Die. I want to find that piece because it speaks to where if you want to have something in life, you got to be willing to go to the line for it. You got to be willing to fight for it. Frederick Douglass said something that I love very much. He said, power concedes nothing without a demand. People that dominate you and that control you, they're not just going to give that up and walk away. No, you got to fight, and you've got to be willing to fight to the death in order to get the things that you want. Give me the Claude McKay piece that we were talking about earlier. And so when you look at where you are, anything that has any value that you want to create in your life, it's something else. Frederick Douglass said, he said, we might not get everything we fight for, but everything we get, there will be a fight. So when you think about your life in and out of the pandemic, and that there are forces, white supremacists, that infiltrate the majority of police stations and operations in the country, that we have to be willing to fight for what we want. And people trying to turn back the hands of time, trying to deny us the opportunity to vote, working relentlessly to deny marginalized people opportunities in an unequal environment. It's a continuous fight. And so I want to focus on something about this. This is symbolic. One, the recklessness of Putin, that there are people in life, short-term thinking, driven by ego, that think that they can just bully and pounce on people and think that everybody will stand by and watch. Something that one rabbi said that I love very much. He said, when something happens, 3 things are going on. One, there's the perpetrator, and they're the victims, and they're the witnesses. And the question is, who's the worst? And the answer is the witnesses. People who stand by and do nothing. People who stand by and say nothing. And one of the great things about what's going on now in this country and around the world, that people have awakened. I remember the demonstrations, and I found it hard-worthy when George Floyd was murdered by a cop and the cops that were with the murderer. They stood back and they watched. At any point in time, they could have intervened and said, come on, it's 4 of us and 1 of him. He's handcuffed, he's down, and we're on top of it. But they didn't do that because they don't recognize your humanity. When you're in a country that does not recognize your humanity, and that most certainly is in America, then it's a different kind of environment. When you come from home, you are terrorized. You face when you're driving, that you're in an environment where you're going to be terrorized or murdered by those who are sworn to protect and to serve. And so when you have goals and dreams that you want to achieve, there are systems that are put in place to deny you, to destroy your sense of self, and to demonize you. And the way that you overcome that, you got to fight. I'm encouraged, I'm inspired by what's taking place in the Ukraine. That those Ukrainians have said, no, this is not the life that we want. We want the life that we are now experiencing. We don't want someone to control our destiny. That's powerful. That's encouraging. God is in the midst of all this stuff as we watch, as we observe. And I'm saying to you, as you look at yourself, look at your goals, that everything you want to do, if it's changing your life, if it's having your own business, if it's bouncing back from a setback, and many people have experienced that. Many people have lost their businesses, have gone through foreclosure, gone through evictions. Many people, their businesses have gone under, but something that Willie Jolly said, that a setback, come on Willie, a setback is a setup for a comeback. You got comeback power. And when you know that, I remember when I was on the ropes dealing with 4th stage cancer, that those words stayed in my mind. I remember the words of Bob Proctor, who just passed a couple of weeks ago, that Bob talked about your mindset and your willingness to do what's required to move your life forward to achieve the things that you want to achieve. It's going to take everything in you. A.L. Williams said, all you can do is all you can do, and all you can do is enough, but make sure you do all you can do. And since Bob Proctor's transition, I've been reflecting on my own life, because we all have an expiration date. And I ask myself constantly, if you had your life to live over again, Les, could you have done more than what you have done thus far? And the truth is, yes. I'm ashamed. I could have done more. And I'm still here. I still got some time. I can still speak. I can still make a difference. Somebody said, why don't you do something other than just speak? To do something where you can have some fun. I said, are you kidding me? I have fun speaking. Are you kidding me? I have a ball changing lives. I want you to think about this. Live your life in the way that you want to live your life. When it's time for me to go, I will still be speaking. Come on, somebody. Well, oh, behave. Yes! And I have a lot of fun. We did some training in Orlando, and I was masked up. I got a plastic mask. I got all kind of masks up in here. Let me tell you something. Nobody's hooked up more than me. And we had a ball. I got, I got masks. See here, homemade playing. Where's my plastic mask? I got everything up in here. When I came in there, they said, what was that guy's name? I forgot. The Silence of the Lambs. I got everything up in here. Yeah, where's my plastic mask? Hey, Mamie. Oh, here it is. I got everything, honey. Look here, this is how I'm going to the airport today. I'm going back to Atlanta. So this is what I'm doing. I don't even fly anymore. But I had to come do my seminar. So this is what I got going, okay? All right, okay. Then, in addition to this, I got everything, baby! You want that movie to call The Silence of the Lambs?
That's
So, look here. If a dog sneezes around me, I'll get up and run. But let me tell you something. So I'm masked up. Do you hear me, homie, playing? Listen to this. This is by Claude McKay. This is a bad boy. He's a bad brother. This is not the front of it. If we must die, where's that? No, no, no. Oh, this is a little small print up to the top. All right. Listen to this. If we must die, let it not be like hogs, hunted and pinned in an inglorious spot, while around us bark the mad and hungry dogs, making their mock at our accused lot. Winston Churchill, he loved this. He said, if we must die, oh, let us nobly die, so that our precious blood may not be shed in vain. Then even the monsters we defy shall be constrained to honor us, though dead. O kinsmen, we must meet the common foe. Though far outnumbered, let us show us brave, and for their 1,000 blows deal one death blow. What though before us lies the open grave? Like men, we'll fight the murderous, cowardly pack, pressed to the wall, dying, but fighting back. Come on, somebody. Yeah, that's it. That's it. I mean, when you look at that, they got people, senior citizens like me, making Molotov cocktails. Am I right?
Yeah, they have a factory.
They have a factory doing it in their garages. Everybody. I mean, they're men who've taken their families, the women, across the border, and then they come back to fight for the life that they want. And there are people sitting around just watching. Let me share something with you. Life is a fight for territory. And once you stop fighting for what you want, what you don't want will automatically take over. Have they not been willing to fight? And trust me, the people who are watching, they admire them and say, wait a minute, these people are fighting. They're not just letting Putin with his crazy self just come in and take over the country because he wanted to. They're putting up a fight. The people are standing in front of tanks. Say, no, you're gonna run me over? Do what you need to do. But we're gonna fight you. And then those Russian troops, many of them don't even know why they're there. Some of them say they've been driving around to run out of gas because they don't want to fight these Ukrainians. They were lied to. And so when you think about this place, what we're watching at this time, as if the pandemic wasn't enough, now this madness. And you better believe, even though it's thousands of miles away, it's affecting our collective consciousness. What happens to any of us happens to all of us, even though it's thousands of miles away. Oh boy, no man is an island, no man stands alone. When you think about where we are in this point in time, I'm encouraging all of you for your prayers and support of the Ukrainian people, and for us to reflect on our own lives and our own battles that we have here. We have our own stuff here. But police departments are being run and controlled by white supremacists. We got our own stuff here. And I say to you that when they know that we mean business, that you're not going to just continue to terrorize us and murder us and get away with it like you've been doing for centuries, trust me on this. They're going to begin to respect us, saying, no, they're not being pushed around and looked past, and they are willing to stand up for each other. That's that, and they fear if the Ukraine joins NATO, and that's the message I want to talk to you about right now. They fear Russia don't want the Ukrainians to join NATO. Why? Because if you attack any of us, you attack all of us. And there's a message in that this is the time that you want to develop a mindset of liberation, a mindset of determination, and you want to develop your skill set, learning all that you can. And because if you're not willing to learn, no one can help you. But if you're willing to learn, no one can stop you. But the other piece that's major is developing strategic relationship alliances. That's why I'm talking to you now. They don't want them to join NATO, because if you affect and impact or attack anybody in NATO, you got to fight all of them. And he doesn't want to see that happen. He doesn't want them to do that. And when we come together around our values, come together with a determination to stand up for a better future for our children, when we develop strategic alliances, communities of collaborative, achievement-driven, supportive relationships, there's some power in that. Because you can't make it by yourself in this thing called life. There could always be some battles. There's some evil people in this world. And I don't have to tell you that, you know that. And you have to protect yourself from them. I remember when I was working at WVKO radio station in Columbus, Ohio, and Eddie Saunders, who was the assistant program, no, he was the program director for a long time. And Eddie was the vice general of the radio station. And he used to box, and Eddie was in his 70s and I was in my 20s. And I said, Eddie, I heard you used to box. He said, yes. I said, you know what? I think I'll just run over there and slap you side the head, see what you do. He said, come on. He said, you might run over here, but you will limp back. I said, okay, Eddie. Eddie Sanders said, I ain't scared of you. You run over here, you gonna limp back, young man. You know, young broom sweep clean, but old broom nowhere to go. So this is a historic time. I'm watching this. I'm pulling for the Ukrainians. And you know, the Orange Man and all his munions and these, you know, these spineless people today, they should write a book called Profiles in Cowardice. I remember a book was written called Profiles in Courage. Well, we're living in a time, we got politicians talking out both sides of their neck because they're afraid of the Orange Man. And I'm saying to you, God has not given us a spirit of fear, but a spirit of power and of love and of sound mind. You have something special. You have greatness in you. Look around at the people in your life. Who is it that you need to build a deeper relationship with? And who is it that you need to walk away from those relationships? Why? Because they're not good for you. They bring no value in your life. I'm cleaning house. You hear me? I'm cleaning house because I found myself giving more in a relationship and they brought zero. There are people who are always there when they need you, but when you need them, you can't find them. And you have to ask yourself the question, in these places where we are right now, you got to ask the question, who should I count on? And who should I count out? Who should I count on? And who should I count out? And as you look at yourself, look at your goals and look at your dreams, you want to watch people. Give them 90 days to prove who they are. Watch and observe them. Don't just take any and everybody in. Something Jim Rohn said, he said, you look at your life and he said, it's either a warning or an example. A warning of what not to do or an example of what to do. Even when this is over, Orange Man's boyfriend, Putin, he has now jacked himself up. He's in a corner right now. And he had short thinking and said, you know what? I had no idea what I was doing, what I did then. He's thinking about how can I save face? But see, there's some kind of damage that you can do that won't be forgotten. Even if they stop right now, people are not going to forget this. No, he's going to be paying for this until he takes his last breath, and the people who supported him in that. So it's very important. Do unto others as you will have others to do unto you. Go, Ukrainians, go, go, go. That's what I'm talking about. You have something special. You have greatness in you. That's my story. and I'm sticking to it. Bye for now. I know they're going to win. They will snatch victory from the jaws of defeat. The world is standing with you. So let's talk about the conversation we had about that, integrity and honesty. What are the 4 principles that governs your life?
RICH. It's the acronym for respect, integrity, character, and honor. That is my foundation that I live by.
Respect, integrity, character, and honor.
Yes.
Okay, I want you to go through each one of those. Let's talk about respect.
So respect. I believe that you cannot respect anybody else until you first respect yourself. I feel like a lot of people have imposter syndrome. They don't accept who they are. They don't embrace who they are. They don't even know who they are. When me personally, I've made a decision that I'm getting to learn me every day. Every experience, every obstacle, everything that I experience changes who I am. So every day I wake up in the morning, I check in with myself. Like, how are you doing, Stormy? How you feeling, Stormy? And I check in with me to make sure I'm okay and to make sure that I'm aware and I respect how I feel. If I wake up and I'm not in a good mood, I ask myself, why? What's wrong with you today? Who's the matter with you? What's going on with you? Why you feel this way? And if it's a conversation that I need to have with somebody, or a conversation I need to have with myself, or if it's something that I can't control, I'll quickly go into the serenity prayer. God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things that I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. So I literally do that every morning. Then I go right into my whole philosophy as well is like, you say this all the time, if you don't live it, don't teach it. So I believe that if you don't live it, it dies. So everything I teach is what I live and who I am. So integrity, I tell people that when you wake up in the morning, the first thing that you should do is check in with yourself. The second thing you should do is, of course, tell God, thank you for waking you up in the morning. You don't have to do no big prayer dissertation. Just thank you, feel it, live it, clap, get excited. And I do personal development in the mornings. Every morning before I get out of my bed, I listen to something. A lot of the audios you send me, I listen to it from Neville Goddard to Les Brown to Miles Monroe to T.D. Jakes, Napoleon Hill. Every morning I'm in my bed, listening to audio. Integrity. Don't teach something that you don't do. Don't be something or pretend to be something that you're not. And it's like, once you speak about it, you either have to walk through it or be already in it. And so I just believe in integrity and not just talking about something, being a public success and a private failure. Like, what you see is what you get with me. Yes. I am who I am. It's like, it's no secrets. It ain't no lies. It's like, this is what it is. This is Stormy. If you don't like it, then that's fine. Have personal respect and integrity for yourself and just don't deal with me. It's just that simple. So I believe in being true to you and having integrity, saying what you mean and meaning what you say, regardless if it hurts. If you say you're going to do something, do it. If you're going to be something, be it. Having integrity, not doing in the light, not doing in the dark, what you're not willing to do in the light. That's integrity for me. Character. Being true, like I'm always surrounded by a lot of people. A lot of people count on me to tell them the truth. One of my greatest self-reflections is being that person that's gonna tell you the truth, tell you how it is. That's character, not lying. Like if you come through the door with an outfit on, you think you look cute, I'm the girl that's gonna be like, that don't look good. That don't look good on you. You come with a new hairdo and you think you look good, I'm like, that don't look good. I'm in the weight loss industry. If you come around me and you done gained some weight, I'm like, girl, what you eating? We got to get it together. So character to me is something that we lack in the world. A lot of people don't like the truth. I believe that people love to believe the lies that they were told versus the truth that'll set them free. So character to me is being willing to tell somebody like it is, how it is, even if it hurts, but if it's going to help them, you be that person. So that's me. I'm always going to be of good character. Most people believe their doubts and doubt their beliefs, not me. So if you're in proximity to me, my goal is to not just be the rawest, baddest chick around. I want my whole crew. I want all of us to be respected, to be recognized, and to look and be our very best. That's character to me. And honor. I believe that your life will be a manifestation of those you choose to honor and those you choose to dishonor. And so 3 people you pay attention to, the people that left you in your time of need, never forget those people. Honor that. Those people that helped you in your time of need, Don't forget those people. Honor that. I don't care if you ever helped me. I still have great relationships with people that help me to this very day, unless they decided that they didn't want to have anything to do with me. But I honor you. I don't care if you blessed me 10 years ago. I would never forget that time when you came into my life and you changed my life. So those that helped you in your time of need, those that left you in your time of need, and those that hurt you in your time of need, I believe that those are three people that you just never forget. Honor that. Till death do us part. You know, honor. My mom died August 26th of 2011. It's been 12 years. I honor my mom with my life. I talk about my mom every day. I think about her every day. And I remember her through her birthday, throughout holidays. I'm always honoring because she is a woman that gave me life. And so I live my life like that. And that's a part of why I believe that I always vibrate very high, because of how I live my life. Rich.
First of all, I think that there are people who are hearing you for the first time and an expanded view and able to get some insight into what drives you. And it's not about the bling bling and the pocketbook sets behind you and those beautiful shoes that I went in there and saw those shoes that said, I got to try one of these on. I just said, look at here, up it here, up it here. But what you're saying, respect, integrity, character, honor. But you also believe in something else. And that is creating a culture, a community of collaborative, achievement-driven, supportive relationships. People have goals and dreams, people that are going in the direction of where you're going. That's when you put Girl Hold My Hand together. That's building a community, a culture that will help people to begin to see themselves differently and to build strategic connections and relationships that can help them to get to where they want to go. I want you to talk about when you came up with the whole concept of Girl Hold My Hand.
So it's several occurrences that happened that gave me the idea. I believe subconsciously, like, you gotta understand, like, my mom passed away August 26th of 2011. Imagine, I thought my mom was coming home that day. We was just laughing and joking. She had just ordered some shrimp, and I bought her some shrimp and some pigeon peas and rice and some plantains, and she was eating. My mom was eating. Her physical therapist came in the room and was stretching her out, and 5 minutes later, she was dead. She was gone. So when my mom was hyperventilating and you know, her body was making these funny moves, I was holding her hand like, Mom, relax. You know, I was telling her to relax. I was telling my mom, like, just relax. Like, don't calm down, because I thought she was having an anxiety attack. So I literally was able to hold her hand as she took her last breath. So I believe subconsciously that had been inside my spirit, but I didn't actually come up with Girl Hold My Hand until like 2016. And let me tell you what happened. So my girl, Natalie Nicole, my number one earning student in the United States, Natalie Nicole, she went to Howard, graduated from Howard. She's big on women empowerment as well. She's my top student. She did over $8 million in the last 2 years as my mentee. And she had a women's event, right? And she invited me to this women's event, and I was the keynote speaker. And I remember when I walked in the room, Mr. Brown, it was a bunch of beautiful women. I'm talking about like professional, beautiful. They had their Chanel, their Birkins, their Louis Vuittons, and everybody was just sitting there like with their hands crossed, and nobody was talking to each other. Like, it's a women's empowerment event, and everybody just looking like they had attitudes. And I felt the negative energy, and I'm like, this is not right. Like, I'm not about to go speak in this room, and they think they're doing me a favor. So I'm like, Natalie, do you mind if I just have a conversation with the girls? Do you mind? And she was like, no, coach, go ahead. And mind you, it wasn't even my turn to speak. Mm-hmm. And I went up, I grabbed the mic, and I said, I want you to turn to the left, and I want you to turn to the right, and I want you to look that woman in the eyes. And they still wouldn't do it. I said, listen, put your purse down. And then I said, do you know the woman that's sitting next to you wants to be loved just like you? I said, do you know the woman that's sitting next to you on the right has some pain just like you? Do you know the woman on the right or the left of you wants to be admired, adored, and appreciated just like you? And literally you could see all the women like crying. I said, look at that girl next to you. No, she wants to feel pretty just like you. She wants somebody to love and treat her like a queen just like you. But you know what? We all have some pain. We all been betrayed. We all been hurt. And I said, hold that woman hand next to you. They all held each other's hand. And I didn't have to say nothing else. They started hugging each other, just talking to each other. And the whole entire energy in the room changed. And I text my graphic designer. I said, look up girlholdmyhand.com. I said, if girlholdmyhand.com is available, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. And he texted me back and he said, girlholdmyhand.com is available. And that was the day Girl Hold My Hand was birthed.
Wow. Whoa, that's a jaw dropper. Up it here. Drop the mic, pick it up and drop it again. What kind of feedback have you gotten for women who have been a part of this? I'm familiar with it, but I want you to share with the audience the benefit that people have gotten out of it.
You know, it's so many things, like my event this weekend, like it's so funny. And I just love just time. Like, for example, right now, there's a lot of energy going on around me and I love it. Like, I love it. I love it. I tell you, I love it. And one of the things I got this weekend a lot, Mr. Brown, Les, you got to hear this. So many women, as we went around the room, because everybody was able to introduce themselves. And they were like, I first heard about you because the question was, who were you coming in this event experience? Who are you leaving out? And how did you find out about Stormy Wellington and Girl Hold My Hand? Prompt, no lie, about 70% of the women said somebody was talking bad about you. So many people were talking bad about you. I came to your page and I wanted to know, is this true? Is somebody that disgusting? Is somebody that horrible? I was so intrigued to meet this lady that these people are talking so bad about. And they came and they fell in love.
Oh my goodness, you.
I promise you, Vanessa right here, 70% of the women were like, I came ready to hate you.
Oh my goodness, you can't make this stuff up.
And I'm telling you, like engineers, professional women, like they're like, you changed my life. I believe in myself. I have standards. I have values. I love myself. I accept myself for who I am. I left my husband. I left an abusive relationship. I left an abusive relationship where I was getting beaten, where I was being spoken to like a dog. You made me have confidence. You know, at least 19 women every year have an event called The Awakening. And oh my God, I wasn't going to do it next year, but this is making me want to do it. At least 19 women come minimum every year. I've been doing this event for 7 years. At least 19 women. And I used to charge $99 for this event. And now it's $3,000 to $15,000, right? But at least 19 women come to this event suicidal. And they leave with a newfound love for themselves, literally telling me how I was going to kill myself the day before. I wrote my death letter. You know, I had a lady at my event this weekend who said her sister committed suicide, death by suicide. And she said, if I did not find this community, I was thinking that was what I wanted to do too. You would have never thought. Beautiful, excited about life, like very interactive, but you'd have never thought prior to the community, she was suicidal. So, you know, I'm no pastor. I'm not that. I'm just a woman who I live life and I teach people how to live life through my life experiences. And I've been through everything. I've been through betrayal, hurt, people dogging me, all kind of stuff. But it's just, to me, it's a part of impact. How can you want to be the most impactful women that ever have lived without being impacted? Impact attracts attacks, and I understand that. So I take the good and the bad. And I be like, bring it home.
Impact attracts attacks.
Yes, indeed.
Come on now. Oh, yes, I'm going to borrow that from you, but I'll give you credit, my sister. Impact attracts attacks. Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes, and you get your share, and I get mine as well. Listen, I think about rich, respect, integrity, character, and honor. Those are some principles that governs your life, and all of us can use those to govern our lives. And these are things that we can teach our children too, because what they're going through right now and the things that they're exposed to is not teaching them those type of principles. That these are things that people should be getting in school. What is it that, as you look at you now, and we're in the fourth quarter, this year, I know you are not only looking at finishing strong and helping those who are part of your tribe finish strong, but you're priming for 2023. What's the major goal that Stormy Wellington wants to achieve with her life?
I love changing somebody's life. Like, I just love watching somebody else come into the realization of who they really are and watching them blossom from a little caterpillar to a butterfly. I just love it. I love the metamorphosis of self-actualization and acceptance of oneself. And so my goal is to build my community. Like, I don't want anybody in proximity to me if they don't want to be in proximity to me. I want you to be a voluntary army. Like we are here because we want to be here. You have something that we want. You have just a power about yourself, a boldness. You know, you have such an energy about yourself that we want to embody. Like, I want people around me who can take what I have and understand that it's not what's taught, it's what's caught. Like, watch how I live. You know, I can tell you this past weekend, 2 things that will blow your mind. So imagine 50 Black women in a community walking around one of the wealthiest zip codes in the world. Okay, I didn't realize it till like today. They came to the house at like 7 o'clock and told us, we have to get out of the house by 10 o'clock or they're going to use forcible actions to remove us from the house because we have breached the contract.
What kind of breach was it?
Listen, we wasn't loud. Now, there was a point in time where it was a little music, but the music was louder on Friday. But listen, we took the walk on Saturday. All the neighbors were like, who are y'all? What do y'all do? Like, come on, you got 50 Black women marching through a community that they never seen 50 Black women march through the wealthiest community, zip code in the world. So everybody was looking out the windows, taking pictures. These white folks was going crazy. I'm just being honest with you. And that night when they came, of course, thank God my attorney was on site because she was able to go over the contract. And at first, Vanessa and John is going crazy. We got to get out of here. We got 2 hours. I'm like, wait a minute. So I said to myself, self-control is strength, right thought is mastery, calmness is power, peace be still. I called my attorney. My attorney got the contract to Vanessa. She's reading over it. She says, okay, this isn't many people here. She did a head count. Okay, we good there. The noise is not loud. We're having a conversation. The party was done with 3 hours ago, and the music wasn't loud because we was in the house. The house is 15,000 square feet. We're not belligerent. These are professional women. They're just Black. She reads over the contract. She gets on the phone with the lady. You guys have to get out right now. You have breached the contract. And if you don't remove yourself, and mind you, they sent 3 securities less. 3 securities were in the house like this. It was crazy. Standing there, looking at us like we're crazy. If you guys don't get out of here, we're going to use forcible actions to remove you. And I'm like, so I'm visualizing. I got excited though. I'm not going to lie. I'm like, what, are they going to throw us out on our head? I wouldn't have said, I told my team, I said, if they come in here, please, I have 4 camera people. I want all cameras on me because I want to see this forcible removal. I was excited. I had them put on my shoes. I had tightened up my little outfit. I kept looking at the clock, waiting for 10 o'clock to come.
Yes.
I was ready. I said, ladies, I just want y'all to know, self-control is strength, right thought is mastery, calmness is power.
No, say that slower. Say it again. Self-control is strength.
Right thought is mastery. Calmness is power. Peace be still. I said, I'm letting y'all know I'm upset right now. They're telling us we got to get out. I paid $45,000 for this house. We are not in any breach of contract. My attorney was like, go do your thing. I got this. She got on the phone with the lady. The lady was very, very, very rude. You guys got to get out. You have breached the contract, all of this. I went and spoke to the security. I said, y'all can't be in here. This is embarrassing. At least stand outside. They said, listen, man, we're just doing our job. I said, let me just get this straight. Because my security was there too. It was only 2. I had 2 securities. I said, and what is forcible removal? You guys gonna throw us outside? And he's like, listen, man, call the police. So we told the lady we were gonna call the police. And the police didn't come. So we like, okay, cool. They realized that they didn't want the police in this area. 10:59, the police comes. I'm talking, I'm ready to go outside. I'm ready. My attorney was like, Storm, sit down. She walked outside. I said, my realtor who was there, I said, Claudia, go see what's going on. I didn't flinch. We talking about our life. All the girls telling their story. Tamika Mallory telling us about when she got canceled and was on opioid addiction. She was addicted to opioids. It was 98 pounds and everybody we just listening. My attorney come back and says, they better not play with me. And sat down. I said, what happened? She said, the police came and said, this is amazing. I don't see no breach of contract here. Ma'am, go do your thing. This seems like a civil case. If they have a problem, they could just take y'all to court. Why am I saying that? It's not what's taught, it's what's caught. We could have went crazy and left the house. And mind you, 10 women paid to stay in the house. So now we looking for hotel rooms, trying to figure out where we're going to take the party to. And because I had the right people around me, because we remained calm, everything always works out for me. And that moment just made me realize you got to have proper planning, the right people, the right contracts in place, and make sure that you have always counsel present so that you could avoid things like this. And we finished the evening. The next day we evacuated the house. We left the house beautiful. We didn't do no damage, nothing, because I have respect, integrity, character, and honor. If I was the old nigga Stormy, I would have broke stuff, stole stuff, did all kind of stuff. I didn't, because that's not who I am. Because what you give will always come back to you, regardless. Whatever you put out, always the energy, the vibration you put out, always come back to you in return. And I left that house in great condition. And I feel proud that everything is going to work out.
Here's the other thing is, ladies and gentlemen, let's say it's me. Yeah, see, it's possible you can live your dream. It's necessary that you have the mindset that I'm going to do this. But you've got to take ownership. You've got to decide, hey, I'm going to do this. You've got to take responsibility for your life. George Bernard Shaw said the people that make it in this life, they look around for the circumstances that they want, and if they can't find them, they create them. You've got to decide, it's me. You've got to say, and say this with conviction, I expect to win. Yes, I think it's important that we say that. You know, if you ask most people, do you want to become successful? They will say yes. Took my oldest son for a walk, my namesake. You know, we always expect our children to do far more than what we do. I said, Calvin, he wants his own identity. He's Leslie Calvin Brown Jr. I stopped him, looked him in the eyes and said, do you want to be successful, son? He said, yes, sir, Dad. Very good. Let's walk, son. Walk further. Stopped him again. I said, Calvin, look me in the eyes, son. Yes, sir, Dad. Do you expect to be successful, son? And he stood there and he looked at me and his eyes got glassy. And he said, let's walk. And the reason that he said, let's walk, because my son is very bright. Of all my children, he's perhaps the smartest one. But Calvin now, over 30, Calvin now, a single parent of 2 daughters, good father. Calvin, now at this stage of his life, he's behind on his dreams. A lot of talent, a lot of abilities. Very conservative. One of those people, great mind, but he just hasn't developed that, you know, things that we want our kids to have that, I want it. Calvin, you got to kick it up a notch, son. You never thought you'd be in your 30s. You got to kick it up a notch. You got to increase your energy in order to live your dreams. You can't be casual about your dreams. Bill Bailey said, if you're casual about your dream, you'll end up a casualty. Shake someone's hand on your right and left and say, kick it up a notch. Yes. You got to kick it up a notch. What is it you bring? And whatever you bring, you've got to kick it up a notch. What is your signature as you look at where you want to go and what it is you want to do? As you look at your product or your services, repeat out to me, please, provide more service than you get paid for. Yeah, see, that becomes your signature. When you look at your goals and look at where you want to go, at your products, at your services, at your industry, you want to set some high standards for yourself. I like what Henry David Thoreau said, do not go where the path may lead, but go where there's no path and leave a trail. How is it that your industry will be done differently 5 years from now, 10 years from now? What is your reputation in your industry? When you come into a room and you leave, what's the scuttlebutt about you? Do people say, hey, that's a go-to person. That's a person, if you ask them to do that job, you're talking about the job being done. It will be done extremely well. Are you known for that person that stand out with what you do, that stand out with your quality of service, with your standards, always looking for ways to better your best? Are you one of those people that believe, well, if it ain't broke, don't fix it? Japanese believe it ain't perfect, keep working on it. Are you willing to keep working on it? Are you willing to realize that you have not done your best stuff yet, that you can better your best? You got to take responsibility.
I want you to think about your goals and dreams. What is it you want to do with your life, particularly now? Because what we know is life is fragile. I was planning not to come out till 2027, and then somebody whispered in my ear, called life. Who said you gonna be here in 2027? I know you want to be. Did you remember Michael Jackson? They spent millions of dollars saying this is it. That was it. But it was not the it they had in mind. Only put off for tomorrow the things that you don't mind dying in you today. Wow. And I said, I got to come out. I've been in so long. I've been talking to squirrels. Even have a squirrel friend who's taught me squirreling. Which said right then in squirrely, I'm so glad to be here and talk to you about focusing. Because in order to make it now, with all the distractions that's going on, that you have to focus. You have to make a conscious, deliberate, determined effort. A lot of people are focused on entertainment. A lot of people have checked out. A lot of people are snapping, having meltdowns in traffic, road rage, in grocery stores, arguing about toilet paper, family members arguing in the bedroom about their relationship, waking up in the morning and said, you know what? I don't want to do life with you anymore. I feel lonely whenever you are around. I'm out of here. And so as we look at ourselves, look at our goals and dreams, one of the most important things we have to do is focus on what gives you a sense of peace. I've been ending relationships that don't bring value to me and that are not peaceful. See, I've come to know that you don't have to help life bring drama. Life will traumatize you by itself. You don't have to augment and complement the process. But there are people who have a propensity for drama, and any little thing can take them and tilt the needle in that direction. No, this is the time you want to focus on peace. If you don't have a peaceful state of mind, if you don't pour into yourself, a person that don't have a sense of peace, they're subject to snap at any time. That's why we're seeing unexplained violence. We see people that's making dumb, stupid decisions that cause them to throw their lives away because of the decisions they make. When anger goes up, ignorance increases and intelligent thinking goes down. And so this is a time that you want to focus on peace, and then you want to focus on this question: am I on course? Is this the best way for me to live my life right now? And you want to focus on your relationships and ask the question: what is this relationship doing to me? Is it an asset or a liability? Is it bringing out the best of me? Is it holding me accountable? Is it creating the next greatest version of myself? Do I feel good when this person is around me? I have a friend that I was telling her, I said, tell me how you feel when your husband comes near you. And she called me, she said, I feel threatened and uncomfortable. I said, you need to get out of there. I said, that's unhealthy. She'd been having a cervical cancer surgery for several years. After she left him, she didn't have any more. There are people who can make you sick. You know, you say, you make me sick? That's real. There's a book I read called Who's the Matter with Me? So you want to focus on the relationships. You want to focus on the environment, because environment, it can determine how you feel about yourself and how you see the world. So I'm saying to you, at this point in time, focus on that which is positive, that can give you a sense of optimism. Focus on the relationships that can empower you, that can hold you accountable. Focus on your strength, so that in events that are going on right now, so you can turn those adversities into your creativity and your advantage. You have greatness in you, and you have to be hungry for greatness. It doesn't happen automatically. You have to work hard. You have to make a conscious, deliberate, determined effort. You have the power, authority, and dominion on living life on your terms.